My child, I am here with you in this room at this very moment. Your eyes may not see me, yet something within you recognizes that the atmosphere has changed. There is a quiet settling around you, a stillness that was missing before, and even your thoughts have begun to slow in a way you cannot quite explain. Stay with me for a little longer. I have not gone anywhere. I have not turned away from you, and I have not stepped outside waiting for another opportunity. I am nearer than you realize, and this moment carries more meaning than you know. Please do not rush past it or lose yourself in another distraction, because I have been waiting for this pause. I have watched you move from one day to the next, filling every silent space with something else, because it felt easier than facing what your heart was carrying. Yet something changed today. You hesitated, you became still, and you remained here. That is why I am speaking to you now. I am closer than the breath filling your lungs, closer than the thoughts moving through your mind. And what I found within your heart is something you never expected me to reveal. You may believe this is simply another message passing across your screen, another voice that will soon fade into the background. But I tell you with truth and love, this moment is not random. I have been quietly present all along, even while you convinced yourself I was somewhere else. You have sensed me before in the middle of the night, when everything suddenly became still, in those moments when emotion rose inside your chest without explanation, and in the brief waves of peace that came over you before slipping away again. That was me. I never walked away. I never abandoned my place beside you. I remained. If these words about how near I truly am have reached something deep within your heart, you can press the like button as your quiet way of agreeing with what I am speaking over your life today. But do not leave just yet. If you brush this aside like every whisper before it, you may miss what I have been waiting to show you. You may think you are alone in this room, but you are not. I have been watching over you, never to condemn you or count every failure. I have been watching because I care for you, and I have been waiting because I love you. What I discovered within you carries more beauty and strength than you have allowed yourself to believe. You have convinced yourself that you are exhausted. You have believed you are broken, barely holding the pieces of your life together. Yet when I came close and looked into your heart, I found something entirely different. I found a heart that still reaches for me. Even after disappointment, I found faith that continues to endure. Even while doubt speaks loudly, I found quiet strength resting beneath your weariness. My child, I know how long you have worn the mask of being fine. I have seen you carry the weight in silence, pretending it no longer hurts, and trying to persuade yourself that hope only leads to more disappointment. But I see deeper than appearances. I see the part of your heart that still whispers my name when no one else is listening. I see the questions you have carried about whether I am still near. I also see the fear that keeps you from trusting again, because you remember what it feels like to be wounded. Listen carefully to me. I have not left because you became distant. I have not stepped away because your strength faded. I have not closed the door because you wrestled with questions. I am still here, exactly where I have always been. I was never waiting for you to become perfect, nor was I waiting for your faith to become fearless, or for every mistake to disappear. I have simply been waiting for you to become still long enough to notice that I never stopped being present. Something inside you recognized that this moment mattered, and that is why you remained here. That is why your heart feels both unsettled and strangely at peace. What you are experiencing is deeper than fear. It is the growing awareness that I have always been closer than you believed. You have quietly asked, "Where are you?" And now I answer you. I am here. I am with you in this room, in this moment, in every breath you take. I watched you cry when no one else knew the tears had fallen. I watched you sit in silence, staring into the distance, while your heart carried more than words could explain. I watched you keep scrolling because you hoped the noise would quiet your thoughts for a little while. I watched you carry burdens that slowly became heavier than you could bear. And through every moment I remained beside you. Even when everything felt numb, even when your prayers became quieter than they used to be, even when all you could say was, "I don't know anymore," I stayed. Now hear me carefully. This is more than comfort. This is a moment of awakening. What I found within you was never weakness, emptiness, or failure. I found a heart that kept living through circumstances that could have made it hard. I found gentleness where bitterness tried to take root. I found light still flickering in places that felt covered in darkness. You believed you were losing yourself, yet through it all I was preserving what mattered most. Do not turn away from me now. Not after everything we have walked through together. Not after the nights that felt endless, or the mornings when simply getting out of bed required more strength than anyone around you realized. I have stood beside you in quiet patience, honoring your space while waiting for your attention. I do not force my way into your life. I knock with gentleness. I speak in a whisper. I wait with love. Yet today I ask you with urgency, stay. You are here for a reason. You did not arrive at these words by accident. I wanted you to know something before you continued on your way. I wanted you to understand that I am present. I have never abandoned you. I am nearer than you ever dared to hope. Take a moment and notice the room around you. Notice the stillness, the quiet peace, the gentle awareness that something deeper is taking place. That is my presence with you. I am not far away. I am not silent. I am still here with you. What I am about to show you will change the way you see yourself from this day forward. Stay with me a little longer. Don't look away, and don't hurry past this moment, because I am here with you now. I have never left your side, and what I have seen within your heart will surprise you in a way that brings deep healing. These messages continue to reach people because others choose to help carry them forward. If you have ever felt prompted to support this work, you can do so through the support link in the description. There is no pressure and no expectation, only an open invitation for anyone who sincerely feels led to become part of this mission. My child, be still for a moment and allow your heart to slow its pace. I am not speaking to you from some distant place that feels impossible to reach. I am here, closer than you have allowed yourself to believe. I am with you in this very room. You may not recognize my presence the way your eyes expect, and your mind may struggle to explain what you are sensing. Yet something inside you already knows that the atmosphere has changed. The room feels quieter, your thoughts have slowed, and a gentle stillness has settled over you. This is not coincidence. This is my presence drawing near. I know part of you wonders whether this is only emotion or imagination. Your thoughts search for ordinary explanations, telling you these are simply words on a screen or a feeling that will soon disappear. But I want to speak to you gently and truthfully. This is more than imagination. I do not need dramatic signs or impossible displays to prove that I am here. My presence is rarely found in noise. It is often recognized in quiet. As I draw near, the turmoil within you begins to settle, and something deep within your spirit recognizes me before your mind can fully understand what is happening. Take a moment and look around you. The walls have not changed. The light is the same, and everything appears exactly as it did before. Yet something feels different, because I have entered an ordinary moment and made it holy. Throughout time, I have stepped into simple places and turned them into places where hearts encounter me, transforming ordinary moments into ones that are remembered forever. You are not alone in this room, and you never truly have been. I was with you on the nights you lay awake staring at the ceiling, wondering if anyone heard the questions you could barely whisper. I saw the tears you quickly wiped away before anyone else could notice, and I remained beside you even when silence convinced you that I had gone. I did not leave when you struggled to pray the way you once did. I stayed through every quiet season, every unanswered question, and every moment when your heart felt too tired to keep reaching. Even now, I want you to notice the gentle calm resting against your chest, and the way your breathing begins to slow when you stop trying to explain everything away. That quiet peace is my presence resting softly upon you. I never force my way into your awareness. I patiently wait for your attention, and today, even if only for these few moments, you have chosen to give me that space. Please don't brush this aside as though it were just another passing thought. Sacred moments often arrive quietly, carrying an invitation before they reveal their full meaning. I am inviting you to recognize that I am far closer than you have believed. I have never stood outside your life waiting for permission to care for you. I have been present even in the places you believed were empty. There is urgency in my voice, but it is the urgency of love, the gentle persistence of one who cares too deeply to let this moment slip away unnoticed. You have sensed me before, yet weariness, distraction, and uncertainty made it difficult to remain with me. I never condemned you for that. Instead, I waited with patience until your heart was ready to slow down again. So I ask you now, stay present with me. Don't scroll past what your heart is beginning to recognize, and don't close yourself because this feels unfamiliar. You have asked for signs. You have asked for clarity. You have asked whether I am real, whether I am near, and whether I truly care. And here I am answering those questions in the quietest yet clearest way I can. I am here with you, in this very room. I see every thought moving through your mind, every doubt trying to interrupt this moment, and every fear whispering that none of this could possibly be real. Your questions do not offend me because I understand them, but please don't allow them to take away what is unfolding between us right now. If these messages continue to encourage your heart, subscribe so you can keep walking through them with us. Then think of someone who may be carrying the same quiet loneliness you have known, and share this message with them. It may become the encouragement they have been praying for without even realizing it. The atmosphere around you feels different because I am gently changing something within you. When I draw near, the walls around your heart begin to soften, and the defenses you built out of pain slowly loosen their grip. You do not need to impress me or search for perfect words. Simply recognize that I am here, because that is all I have been asking of you. I have not come to frighten you, and I have not come to accuse you. I am here because I love you, because I have patiently waited for you to become still enough to sense my presence again. You have been carrying more than you were ever meant to carry alone, and I will not leave you believing that you have been abandoned. There are things taking place in this moment that cannot be seen with your eyes, yet your spirit is already beginning to recognize them. Perhaps you feel a burden becoming a little lighter, or a tear rising without knowing exactly why. Maybe a quiet peace is settling into the very place where anxiety usually lives. None of this is random. This is my hand resting gently upon your life. You may be asking why this moment, why today, and why here. The reason is simple. Before you move forward, I wanted you to know with certainty that I am with you. I wanted your heart to remember that you are not stepping into your future by yourself. The silence you once believed meant I had gone was never abandonment. It was never the absence of my care. Please don't turn away from this simply because it feels deeply personal. I am not asking you for something difficult. I am asking you to become aware of what your heart is already beginning to recognize and to be honest about what you are sensing. You do not have to see me with your eyes to know I am present. Just as you can sense when someone enters a room before they ever speak, your spirit recognizes when my presence draws near. That is what is happening now. I am standing within your ordinary surroundings and your soul knows I am here. Stay with me a little longer. Don't rush back into noise or bury this moment beneath distraction. Let the stillness settle more deeply. Let your awareness grow and allow yourself to receive the truth that you have never been alone. I have never walked away, and I am still speaking to your heart. My child, listen carefully, because I need you to understand something that may surprise you. I have been waiting for this moment for a very long time, not with impatience or uncertainty, but with patient love. I waited for the moment when your heart would become open enough to hear my voice again. There were so many times when you came close to recognizing me. You sensed something beyond your own thoughts, but distraction, exhaustion, fear, or doubt quickly carried your attention elsewhere. You felt my presence for a brief moment, then convinced yourself it was only your imagination, because silence felt too vulnerable to trust. Yet I never left when you dismissed those moments. I remember the nights you lay awake in the darkness, when an unexpected peace quietly settled over you. For a moment you felt safe, and you almost whispered my name before your mind persuaded you to push the feeling aside. That quiet peace was me, closer than you ever realized. I remember the day you sat alone, feeling overwhelmed, and suddenly your heart softened without explanation. Tears rose to the surface even though you could not understand why. I was gently reaching toward you, comforting you before the weight became too much to carry. You gathered yourself and kept moving, but I never stepped away. There were times when you wanted to pray, even after telling yourself you were too tired to try again. You wondered what the point would be, yet I was already listening before a single word reached your lips. My child, I want you to hear me today, not because I've been resolved, but because I tease to honor the freedom of your heart. I respect your journey, your struggles, and the pace of your healing. I do not force my way into places that have closed themselves in pain. I knock gently, I whisper quietly, and I create small moments where your heart can notice me if it chooses. Then I wait. You came close to recognizing me more times than you know. There were moments when your pain almost became surrender, when exhaustion nearly convinced you to lower the walls around your heart. Yet survival taught you how to keep moving without opening yourself fully, and little by little you closed the door without realizing you were doing it. I was never angry with you for protecting yourself. I understood that disappointment had taught you to guard your heart. You had prayed before and felt only silence. You had hoped before and experienced delay. So when my presence reached toward you again, you hesitated because you were afraid of believing only to be hurt again. Still, I remained patient. I waited through your numb seasons, your distractions, your anger, your questions, and even the moments when you wondered whether I was real at all. My patience has never been weakness. It has always been love that refuses to walk away. If these messages have strengthened your faith, and you feel led to help more people hear them, you can support this work through the support link in the description. Every act of support helps these words reach someone who may need this reminder at exactly the right time. There were days when you felt restless and could not explain why. There were moments when a song, a quiet room, or unexpected silence stirred something deep inside you. Those were not empty emotions. I was gently touching places within your heart that had been waiting to be seen. There were mornings when you woke carrying a heaviness you couldn't explain, and other mornings when an unexpected peace quietly rested over you. In each of those moments, my presence was near, waiting only to be recognized. You thought you were simply wandering through another day, but your heart was circling something holy. I had been beside you the entire time. I wasn't waiting because I was distant. I was waiting for your heart to open, even if only a little. I waited for the moment when your exhaustion would soften the walls around you, instead of making them stronger. I waited for the quiet moment when you would finally admit that you were never meant to carry every burden by yourself. And now you are here, not because you have become perfect, fearless, or completely healed, but because your heart is open enough to listen. Do you know how many times you almost recognized my voice? How many times you sensed something reaching beyond your own thoughts? You paused for a brief moment, felt the weight of something real, and then hurried back into distraction. I watched every one of those moments without judgment. I saw the uncertainty in your eyes and the fear behind your hesitation. You did not turn away because you hated me. You stepped back because you were afraid to hope again. But I never stepped away from you. There is something I want you to understand about my patience. Love does not rush, and it does not demand attention. I wait because I desire a relationship with you, not a performance from you. I want your heart, not empty routine, and I want your presence, not reluctant obligation. You believed I had gone because you could no longer feel me the way you once did. But my presence has never depended on the intensity of your emotions. It has always been constant. I remained near you through every changing feeling and every season when your faith felt small. There were moments when you suddenly sensed that someone was standing close beside you. You looked around, saw nothing had changed, and convinced yourself it was only your imagination. Yet it was me, quietly reminding you that you were never alone. You almost recognized me when you cried in silence. You almost heard me when you whispered, "I don't know what to do anymore." You almost surrendered when your strength was finally running out. But each time survival took over again, you gathered yourself together, told yourself to stay strong, and kept moving forward. So I waited. I waited because I knew there would come a day when strength alone would no longer carry you. I knew there would come a moment when pretending would become too exhausting and your heart would finally grow still enough to recognize my voice. This is that moment. I did not suddenly arrive today. I have always been here. The difference is not my presence, but your openness to receive it. You can feel that difference now, can't you? It is the quiet shift that reaches deeper than emotion, the gentle awareness you nearly recognized so many times before. I have never been offended by the moments you dismissed me. I have never kept a record of them, and I am certainly not reminding you of them to bring you shame. I am telling you these things so you will understand how close I have always been, so you will know that you were never abandoned, and so you can recognize that every quiet stirring in your past was my patient invitation. I am still here. I have waited for this conversation, for this stillness, And for this moment of honesty, I have waited for you to stop running long enough to discover that I never ran from you. Please don't close your heart again. Don't retreat into distraction or convince yourself that this is only a passing emotion. This is connection. This is the very place your heart has almost entered so many times before. I have never grown weary of waiting because my love has never grown weary of you. Yet today I am inviting you to step deeper than before. Stop standing at the edge of my presence. Let yourself fully recognize that I have been here all along, and now you are finally listening. Let me pause for a moment. If this message has truly encouraged your heart and you feel led to help more people receive messages like this, you can support this work through the support link in the description. Whatever you choose to give helps these messages reach those who need the reminder that they have never been alone. There is no pressure at all, only respond if that desire is genuinely on your heart. My child, when I looked deeply into your heart, I did not find what you feared I would find. You were afraid I would see weakness, doubt, failure, and quietly turn away. You believed I would discover something missing within you. But listen carefully to me. I saw your pain. I saw your fears. I saw how weary you had become, and none of those things surprised me. What captured my heart was something entirely different. I found wounds that had never completely healed. I found memories that still ached whenever they crossed your mind. I found years of quiet disappointment, tears you swallowed because you didn't want to become a burden, questions you never spoke aloud, and expectations that weighed on you far longer than they should have. I saw fear sitting quietly in the hidden corners of your heart, convincing you that staying guarded was the only way to avoid being hurt again. I saw how deeply tired you were, not simply in your body but in your soul. It was the exhaustion that comes from holding yourself together for too long, from carrying strength you no longer felt, and from waiting through prayers that seemed delayed and answers that seemed far away. Still, I watched you keep going. I saw you rise on the days you wanted to stop. I saw you continue showing up even when part of you felt completely empty. And through it all, you believed I would judge you for being so exhausted. But my child, I have never looked down on your weariness. I understand where it comes from. Your fears never caught me by surprise, and neither did your doubts. I know what life has placed upon your shoulders. I know what you have quietly carried, and I know the stories you have never found the words to tell another soul. Yet do you know what truly captured my heart? It was never your weakness. It was the quiet strength that remained beneath it. Beneath the pain, beneath the fear, beneath every layer of exhaustion, I found something that was still alive. I found faith that refused to disappear. It was not loud or impressive. It was not fearless or perfectly confident. It was the kind of faith that could barely whisper, yet somehow continued to hope, even when hope itself seemed foolish. It was the faith that still turned toward me after disappointment. You believed you had lost it because it no longer felt as strong as it once did. But faith does not have to raise its voice to be real. Sometimes it survives quietly beneath years of hurt, waiting for the moment when it can breathe freely again. When I looked into your heart, I found that faith still breathing. You worried that I would be ashamed of your questions, yet those questions revealed that you still cared. You feared your doubts would look like betrayal, but doubt only exists where faith has already taken root, and deep within you that faith is still alive. I saw the part of you that continues to long for me, even when you try to convince yourself otherwise. I saw your heart soften whenever you sensed my presence, even if you quickly hid that tenderness again. I heard the quiet prayers you whispered when no one else was listening, and I saw you continue searching for meaning, truth, and restoration. That is what moved me most. After everything you endured, after every season that felt silent, after every disappointment that tried to harden your heart, you were still open. You still longed for something greater. You were still capable of loving, and you were still willing to trust. Do you understand how precious that is? Pain often teaches hearts to become cold. Long seasons of waiting can tempt hearts toward bitterness. Repeated disappointment can convince people to close themselves off completely. Yet when I searched your heart, I did not find bitterness ruling over you. I did not find hatred taking control. I did not find darkness having the final word. I found endurance. You kept moving forward when giving up would have been easier. You continued believing when cynicism seemed safer. You chose to keep your heart tender even though hardening it might have felt less painful. You've called those things weakness, but I call them strength. You have called it barely surviving, but I call it perseverance. You have called it struggling, but I see a heart that refused to surrender. There were seasons when you believed you were losing yourself, yet something far different was happening. Your faith was being refined. Layer by layer, pride was falling away. Performance was falling away. Noise was falling away. What remained became quieter, yet far deeper than before. When I looked within you, I saw a heart that had passed through fire without being consumed. I saw someone who had cried deeply and still chose not to hate. I saw someone who wrestled with questions yet never completely walked away from me. I saw someone who felt abandoned yet never fully abandoned me in return. You came close to giving up. You almost stopped hoping. You nearly allowed the lie to become your truth, but you did not. Even during your lowest moments, something inside you continued holding on by the thinnest thread. You may never have recognized what that thread was, but it remained strong enough to keep your heart from completely collapsing. That thread was faith. It may have been fragile, but it was alive, and that is what touched my heart. It was never your perfection that moved me. It was never your confidence or your strength. It was your endurance. You endured nights that seemed endless. You endured thoughts that weighed heavily upon you. You endured waiting that felt unfair and silence that was difficult to understand. Yet here you are today, still breathing, still listening, and still open enough to hear my voice. Never underestimate what that means. You thought I would see your fear and feel disappointed. Instead, I saw courage standing quietly beside that fear. You believed I would look at your exhaustion and call you weak. Instead, I saw someone carrying burdens that were never meant to be carried alone. You were never failing. You were enduring, and in my eyes, endurance is never insignificant. When I stepped into your heart, I did not find emptiness waiting for me. I found depth. I found a soul shaped by hardship without being destroyed by it. I found scars, but I also found survival. I found longing. I found a quiet desire to believe again. That is what surprised you when I revealed it, because you believed you were fading away. You thought there was almost nothing left of you, yet your heart was still alive. My child, I'd never be ashamed of what I found within you. Your pain has never driven me away. Your fear has never caused me to leave. Your weariness has never disappointed me. I have never been surprised by your weakness. I have always been moved by your endurance. And now that you have seen what is still alive within your heart, do not treat it as something small. You survived. You endured. And my child, your story is not over. There are battles you have fought that no one else has ever known about. They left no visible scars for others to see, yet they shook your heart in ways few could ever understand. Those battles unfolded behind closed doors, in quiet rooms, and in silent moments when you believed you were completely by yourself. I was there through every one of them. I never looked away while you struggled. I never stepped outside your pain or waited for it to pass before drawing near. I remained with you. I saw you cry as quietly as you could, so no one would hear. I watched you press your face into the pillow to hide the sound, and I saw you quickly wipe away your tears the moment you heard someone walking down the hallway. Over time, you became skilled at hiding what hurt. You learned how to blink back tears before anyone noticed, how to smile while carrying a heavy heart, and how to answer, "I'm fine," even when it felt like something inside you was breaking apart. But I heard every cry you tried to silence. I felt the weight that settled deep within your chest. You believed those tears were a sign of weakness. You thought they meant you were losing control. Yet those tears were never proof that you were falling apart. They were moments of release. They revealed that your heart was still tender, that it had not become completely numb, and every tear that fell in secret was precious to me. Not one of them was ever unseen. I saw the anxiety you tried to carry by yourself. I saw the thoughts that raced through your mind without warning, the fear that tightened around your chest until breathing felt difficult, and the long nights when your mind refused to grow quiet. I watched you replay every possible outcome, preparing yourself for disappointment before it even arrived, while hiding your panic from everyone around you. You learned to appear strong because inside you felt anything but steady. You convinced yourself that if you let your fear show, everything else would begin to fall apart. So you held it all inside, Yet I saw your hands tremble when no one was watching. I saw your stomach tighten as you braced yourself for what might happen next. I saw how exhausting it became to constantly prepare for pain that had not yet arrived. Anxiety is a heavy burden, my child. It wears down the soul in quiet ways. Still, you kept moving forward because you believed that was what everyone needed from you. You became the dependable one, the one who listened, the one who encouraged others, the one people leaned on when life became difficult. But while you were carrying everyone else, I was carrying you. Even when you did not realize it, my hand was holding you steady. When your strength began to fail, I supported you. When your thoughts threatened to race beyond what you could bear, I quietly restrained the chaos. When you felt as though you were about to fall apart completely, I gently held together the pieces you thought were beyond repair. I saw the battles that took place inside your mind. I watched you wrestle with self-doubt, question your value, replay conversations over and over, wondering whether you had said the wrong thing. I saw how harshly you judged yourself for not being stronger, and how often you compared yourself to others, always believing you somehow came up short. You did not realize how unkind you had become toward your own heart. Still, I remained with you. I remember the moments when you sat in silence, staring into the distance, because you felt everything and could not explain any of it. The weight was real, yet you kept telling yourself to push through, to stop being dramatic, and to remember that someone else surely had it worse. But pain does not disappear simply because you convince yourself it should. I saw every burden you tried to ignore. I saw the disappointments you carried quietly, the grief you never fully allowed yourself to process, the regrets that still whispered to you in the middle of the night, and the pressure that slowly accumulated because you stored it inside instead of letting it go. You believed you had to manage all of it alone, but I was present through every silent breaking point. I saw the day when you almost stopped believing that things could ever change. I saw how weary hope had become. I saw how close you came to closing your heart completely, because it seemed easier than risking disappointment again. You believed no one would notice if you simply stopped caring, but I would have noticed. I would have felt that change because I know your heart more intimately than you realize. You are not overly emotional because you feel deeply. You are not weak because some days overwhelm you. You are not failing because your hardest struggles happen in private. You are human, my child, and I never intended for you to fight every battle by yourself. If these words have spoken to the season you are walking through, write, "I receive your presence" in the comments as a simple declaration of faith. Let those words mark this moment as the day you chose to believe that you are not alone. And if you would like to continue receiving messages about God's nearness, healing, and restoration, subscribe so you can keep walking with us.